So hello there, I'm David Bradley, aka Schizophreniforms, and today I'm going to talk about thought broadcasting, and I'm going to talk about it in terms of the black book and the white book. So I'm going to talk about what it feels like, what the experience is, how I interpret it, and then the black book element is going to be what I think the mechanism is behind thought broadcasting and how to healthily navigate it in the framework of exaggerated or paranoid or otherwise hypervigilant terminology relating to how I believe the mechanism of thought broadcasting actually works. So we're going to start with the white book element, which is the experience of thought broadcasting and what that feels like, what the direct experience of what that feels like. And now I've chosen to do this outside. As you can see, I'm in public. I'm in a little secluded area in my hometown, and it seemed oddly poignant to do it in that way because right now I'm experiencing thought broadcasting. Right now I'm experiencing the feeling that, and I'm as far away from people as I can be, but I'm experiencing that there's a level of interaction with me, whether it be near subconscious or conscious itself, whereby I feel like I'm in constant dialogue with the entire rest of humanity and the universe, and these that there's a tone of different beings there, that there's the tone of different thought processes reacting and responding to near unconscious prompts from the rest of reality. And that kind of sums it up briefly what it's like. But the actual kind of the belief system I have, the white book explanation for it, is that it can be explained such as thusly. It's as though my subconscious or the collective unconscious and the collective unconscious are interacting. It's as though what is in the non-direct part of my mind, what is in my potential sphere of awareness, is all intimately linked to the rest of experience. And when I'm really in that mode, it feels incredibly compelling, and it's as though I'm in constant dialogue with the universe. And I'm even struggling now to talk about it and actually convey from like the position I'm at, the psychical framework I'm in a way that is relatable. Yeah, what does it feel like? So what does it feel like? It feels as though you're telepathic and communicating with different entities that radiate out. So like, for example, this is a white book thing I'm referencing. Sorry, someone's got some racing cars over there. They look pretty badass. They're doing flips and stuff. That's pretty cool. So if you hear like the sound of them, that's what it is. Where did I get to? Let me gather my thoughts a second. So yeah, the white book interpretation of the experience of thought broadcasting is very much as though my conscious awareness is at the center of my head or of my personal experience, and that the subconscious, so the potential awareness of, or the field of awareness in which I am able to which of potential experience that if I focus on, I can experience directly. It's as though that field is kind of semi-permeable, and that around me the interaction with other beings and other states of consciousness in other beings, those race cars again, it's as though that is the beginning point, the central point of me, and that actually, because there's no real difference between myself and the rest of the universe, there's no distinction, there's no separation, it's as though the entire universe can be interacted with via thought alone, and that's the best description I can give. And it feels like as though that initially it felt like it was malevolent in a sense, but when I was like fully psychotic, it felt as though actually like quite communicative, like social consciousness was something that I experienced, and these weren't persecutory, they were complementary and to my own awareness of reality, and it's as like I could talk through my subconscious and through sending out a message such as, let me speak, or what do I want for dinner, or what's the next thing to do with this reality, and then reality would kind of just react to that, and I'd pick up messages via messages. I would think I was picking up messages via the spontaneous focusing of my conscious awareness on subconscious triggers. So, like, for example, they do it in marketing. Like, if you just see the word eat written on a sign, or good price, or bargain, or whatever it is, and then you don't consciously take that in, but if you focus on it, and observe it, you then are aware of that it's a marketing technique, whereas otherwise it's just a subconsciously filtered in thing, and then when you see that product you think, oh, I need to eat, and then it makes you hungry, and so on and so forth. It's a crude example, but you get the idea. And the things, so the way I experience thought broadcasting is though that there's messages inherent in the things that my mind focuses on, the words that I notice people say in passing, the words that I see, the images that I focus on. Like, there's this constant feedback loop of like I just heard someone say heaven, for example. I thought, or it sounded like it, and that triggers a series of information. It shows me what I'm thinking about, but it's also a dialogue back and forth. It's as though that I'm actually in direct communication with the universe, and it's filtered in through where I selectively throw my eyes, what I draw my attention to, what my attention is drawn to, and that weaves a deeper narrative over time that is unique to me in a kind of Jungian synchronistic state of being. Now, further to that, it seems as though there's forces or intentions or like non-physical beings that govern that interaction, or that are potentially part of that interaction, as though, like, I used to think of it as the God and devil, or the light and the dark, the good and the bad, but there's different nuanced levels to it. It's not just as polarized as good and bad, light and dark, God and devil. It's like there are subtler forces, and that they're as wide and varied and unique as humanity itself. Like, and that the more you observe them, the more you're able to see the different intentions behind it. And also, like I said in the white book, right, in the procession of awarenesses, I think it was the second section, that's those cars again, that you can nuancely navigate certain destinies, certain futures, certain potential outcomes by telepathic interaction with humanity at their unconscious level, at your subconscious level, using the intention of your conscious mind. So that's the white book. That's what it feels like. It's a way of being in deep dialogue with the universe without having to do things like prayer, or, it's like, it's almost as though prayer, yeah, that's a good explanation actually. So it's like you can pray simply by thinking. It's like every thought is a spell or a prayer or an intent, and that when you ask, those prayers are immediately answered, and it comes in the form of dialogue through subconscious and unconscious features, aka the actions and seemingly random nature of reality around you, that through this synchronistic method kind of comes together into one congruent, consistent dialogue with different beings. So now for the white book explanation. Like, what is it? How is this manifesting? How is this experience? So that relates to the following. I believe that each individual consciousness, so like, for example, when you interact with a friend, this is what the procession of awarenesses was about. When you're alone, when you're completely alone, there's a quality to your experience that is psychically, as in pertaining to the psyche, individual. It's as though, yeah, you're just one entity. And then when you interact with another person, their conscious awareness, their thought process, themselves, and your conscious awareness, your thought process, and yourself combine to create a third entity. And we can see this like rationally in that, for a certain degree, in that your interaction with someone changes your behaviour and your thought process directly. but I'm postulating that creates a third conscious entity, which is the collective conscious awareness of both those people interacting, and that this goes out further into consecutively into each level of awareness that's potential on the planet. Like, so there's like a collective human awareness, a collective planetary awareness, and that this is effectively kind of like the Hindu pantheon, the idea that like we're all immersed in consciousness, and that is they go out in holons, like this Ken Wilber thing, he calls them holons or halons, and it's like the idea that each individual thing is within another greater thing, and that each greater thing exists within the original whole as well. I'll explain more about that possibly in another video. This is extremely difficult to me to talk about actually, because I'm in public and this is really uncomfortable for me, so I just wanted to mention that. So if I'm a bit disordered and chaotic about it, it's because I'm struggling to focus on what I'm talking about, because what I'm talking about is the topic of thought broadcasting which I'm experiencing, so it's very difficult to kind of navigate that. Excuse me. So yeah, my belief is that, like the Hindu pantheon, it starts with Brahma, then descends into the Trimurti, down into the next level, 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 until we're all this kind of avatar or embodiment of God, but that we have different concentric levels of awareness. So that's kind of, I groove on that idea. Like, it makes sense to me, it reflects my experience, and my experience reflects it. So that's the kind of the white book explanation. So I'll be back with the black book explanation and mechanisms. So the kind of black book mechanism or understanding is that what I'm doing is a kind of advanced, deliberate form of confirmation bias. So I'm in dialogue with my own subconscious, perhaps, but not necessarily the external world. But that creates an image in the mind that, because I'm setting an intention towards this, because if I don't, it just becomes persecutory. But if I set an intention towards it, like if I have like a what should I talk about now, and just send that out to the world, and then I'll hear relevant information, what my attention is drawn to now, the quality has changed a little bit. And that mechanism exists in such that the mechanism of confirmation bias is such that, like, the example that most people give is like, notice a red car, and then or like, oh, red cars are significant, and then you'll see red cars everywhere. And so what I'm doing is taking an active involvement. This is the black book explanation, not the white book, because it's not what I believe, but this is an explanation that makes the most sense to me. And it's that my confirmation bias process that naturally occurs in a lot of people, and it's an interesting phenomena, but that's what's going on. Like, it's basically, I'm setting an intention, and then my subconscious filters into me certain different information through the selective throwing of the eyes, the selective focusing of attention. What I tend to do with it is I stand back from it and then allow the information to come forward to me, and then when I sense a pattern or a narrative, I can then enter into dialogue with it more succinctly by personifying it as this real entity. So that's kind of the black book gist of it, and it's an enormously useful way to navigate it as well, because the experience is that you're telepathic and that you're interacting with other levels of reality and all of humanity in a kind of collective unconscious soup of intention and ideas. But the way to rationalize it and stay calm through it is to realize that it's an advanced form of confirmation bias. Keep it going. An advanced form of confirmation bias that kind of delivers to you the ability to communicate consciously with otherwise sub and unconscious and non-conscious elements of reality, and it tells you what you're thinking, but not only that, it governs your behavior. It changes how you interact with things and the way you respond to things, both internally and verbally and externally and body language wise, that then feeds back around you to the entire environment a certain perspective, a certain narrative. I think I'm running out of time, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll probably do an outro in another location. But if not, I've been David Bradley, aka Schizophrenic Forms, and thank you for watching.